Hi guys, this is another video from me, Terry, Vegs Tess Creates. I received some new goodies that I had ordered today. One of them being this stamp set from Concord and 9th called Cuddles and Hugs. I just think it's gorgeous. It's got lots of lovely sentiments about just sending people nice messages that can all be used interactively. And I also have this spare 5x7 card panel that I've made using this Crafter's Companion set of 3 layering stencils in a geometric diamond pattern, which I just think is amazing. I made 2 panels of this, and the other one that I've used for my brother-in-law's birthday card, but this one was left over. You'll notice that the inking isn't perfect, but you know, I don't think it matters too much. I still think it looks really nice. I've just noticed actually that there's still a bit of the top white showing there, so I'm just going to go slightly to the... In fact, no, I'll bring it into shot and show you. This is one of my 2 paper trimmers that I use. This is the Tim Holtz mini trimmer, which I really like. Obviously it's a guillotine, so I find it really easy to use. And I think the blade is self-sharpening, so it just gives a perfect cut. But I do also have a Tonic super trimmer, which is a paper trimmer, which I do also love for different reasons. I mean, this one, obviously the blade is really sharp. It's very crisp. It's amazing. I bought it when it was on sale because I am quite thrifty. And the Tonic super trimmer, I might as well bring that over. They're both on a little sort of workbench next to me. Is this one, and this is because the guillotine that I've got is a mini one. I can't cut bigger papers like 12x12, but I can with this Tonic super trimmer, and it's also useful. Just a little bit of extra for you. It's useful to have a trimmer, because say if you have a piece of specialty card but you only wanted to, or pattern paper, and you only wanted to use a border, you could actually use the trimmer and these guide little stick out marks here and basically cut out the center and then reuse that for something else. So they both have their pros and cons, and so this one does have 2 pull out things, but I only really use the bottom one. Anyway, so as I've got my new set of stamps arrived today, I've got some other ones too, but I'll leave them for another video. And as I've got this panel left, I thought I would make a really quick and simple card and show you. So this is a pre-made, pre-bought 5x7 card blank. I got it in a pack of 50, I think, which came with envelopes as well. And I've trimmed it down a bit. Obviously the size of the stencil is 5x7, but I've trimmed it down, and so it gives it a bit of a nice white border. And my thoughts are that I want to use hugs. I think that'll fit nicely. And I mean, there's so many lovely sentiments here. So you could use big hearts deserve big hugs. Sending you handmade hugs, no words, just hugs. I think that's really sweet for, like, say if someone's going through a really difficult time or lost a loved one or something like that, you know, and you just, you can't find the words, and you just want to send them kindness and encouragement and you know, no words, just hugs. But you can also use hugs and lots of birthday wishes. Hugs make everything better. There's just so many lovely things, but I think because I don't have many sympathy cards in my stash, I think I'm going to use no words, just hugs. So in order to do that, I'm going to bring over my stamping platform. So I'm trying to remember the brand of this. it's called My Nellie or something like that. I got it off eBay, off an eBay seller, brand new, and it was the cheapest thing that I could find really that met my requirements, because it's 7 by 8, like nearly 9 inches, and I wanted something that, you know, had a big area. I found some cheaper ones, but they were smaller, but this was basically, I did a lot of research. I am quite thrifty, so I did a lot of research, and found that sort of met my requirements, size wise and price wise. So let's get going. Stamping platforms, you don't need them. You don't need one to get started to stamp something. You can use an acrylic block, but you will need to mount it on something. So if you don't mount it onto this, you'll need an acrylic block, and then you obviously, I would use a bigger one than that, and it sticks on there, and then you can stamp it. But and I do have these, and I do still use them, but the benefits of a stamping platform are that because the stamp clings to the lid, you can basically keep on stamping until you've got the desired level of coverage that you need. So I'm going to use that Big Hugs, and I'm going to use the No Words Just. Hugs. No Words Just Hugs. Positioning. And I was also wondering whether to heat emboss this, but I think what I'm going to do, which I don't use very often and I want to do more of, is I'm going to stamp this in black ink, and then I'm going to use some Glossy Accents, which is a clear dimensional medium, and so it says dries to a clear glossy finish, so it makes it like sort of bubble letters. So I'm gonna try that out. So it's a bit of an experiment. So yeah, I feel like this fits nicely under there, but I feel like it should live here because that's the first thing that I want the person to read. So I'm gonna go like that. There's no right or wrong. The little magnets are there to keep your piece in place, but another tip is to always just put it very directly in the corner. And as this is a new stamp set, it's always good to just sort of wipe the surface a bit. You can either use your finger or a microfiber cloth or something like that, just to sort of get off just to prime it really. Basically, it holds the ink better if you do this when it for the first time. Little things you pick up over time, but I learnt this from, I can't remember who, one of the YouTubers that I've been following, but I do this all the time now, and it does help. Be careful I haven't got any bits of fluff stuck on it, but it'll be fine. Apologies if you can see my head in the way. Okay, my throat's a bit dry today. I should have brought up some squash with me, but never mind. Okay, so is this nice and centered? I'm just still getting used to my camera setup. So here we go. I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black Ink, which is a dye ink or water-based ink, as opposed to a pigment ink, which I could also use for this, but it just pigment inks take longer to dry. You have to give it a good go, and as you can see, that's stamped quite well, but you can see it hasn't given the best coverage in the middle, which is why the stamp platform is so useful. What I really should have done then was check that the my card, the panel was still directly in the corner, which luckily for me it is, although I have got a slight little black blemish there. Oh, it looks like, is that a little imperfection on the stamp, or is that? Ah, you know what that is? That is a little fibre from the microfiber cloth. So that's my fault, because, oh well, never mind. It doesn't have to be perfect, Tez. It doesn't have to be perfect. I do have to sort of give it some welly sometimes. We're getting there. I think just one more time. I don't know if you can see on that. I can just see through in the middle in some patches to the white. But I think one last really good go should do that. I'll actually stand up and... Yep, that's good enough for me. So that was 4 goes. Now, with cleaning your stamps, you can basically just clean them with water. I have got a stamp cleaner, a stamp like little thing that I can use to clean stamps, but it's easier to clean them when they're on a block. So I tend to use that when I stamp things with a stamping block. I'll use that, and then if I'm using them stamps on my stamping platform, I'll either use a baby wipe or just a cloth, like a kitchen cloth, jiffy cloth, J cloth, you know, those blue and white ones, with some water, because it's only a water-based ink. If you're using different types of inks, like solvent-based permanent archival inks, I think you have to use like proper stamp cleaners and stuff, but if it's just, this is just water-based, so that's fine. And then what I normally do is just carefully take these off, because obviously they're quite robust, but you don't want to tear and ruin your beautiful stamp, so I'll just put that off to one side. And then I like to give that just a quick wipe over. These, I think I got this tip off Jennifer Maguire, just to keep these microfiber cloths. You can get them like 3 for £1 in pound shops and stuff, but they're quite handy. So I'm quite pleased with that. The only thing that I didn't like very much is that little splodge, but there's not really much I can do about that. But I don't think it's that noticeable, to be honest. So next step, just checking that we're all in the shot okay. In the shot okay? Yeah. Am I? Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. If it's slightly wonky, never mind. Now, what I have seen other people do, and I've been wanting to try myself, is add a bit of sparkle with an aqua shimmer pen and then add glossy accents over the top. So I just wanted to check if this is dry. It's not quite dry. Just probably wait for that to dry first. And there's also a slight bit of black over here. Never mind. Take the opportunity to clean this a bit better. Wait for that to dry a little bit longer. It should only be a few seconds because it does dry pretty quickly. Looks pretty dry. I'm sure it's fine. Well, not 100% sure obviously, but pretty sure it's fine. So I'm going to go over it with a Nuvo aqua shimmer pen to add some sparkle. And then I'm going to go over it with the Ranger, I think it's Ranger, I'll have a look in a minute, Glossy Accents, to give it like a raised dimensional effect. And I'll just do that on the hugs. So I have done cards similar to this in the past where I've used heat embossing, so I've I've just done exactly the same as I've just done, but using a pigment ink, because pigment inks that stay sticky for longer. And then I've applied a clear embossing powder over the top, and I've done that a couple of times, and that gives a nice like raised effect. You don't have to have tons of colours of embossing powders. You can just use clear and then use different coloured inks. You're more likely to have different coloured inks. Although, I don't know, I've gathered a few different coloured... Terry, you can't do two things at once. I've gathered a few different coloured embossing powders over time. That looks so pretty. That looks so pretty even just as it is, to be honest, but I'm going to add even more sparkle. And I am definitely going to try this Glossy Accents thing because I've been meaning to do it for a while. Now you do have to wait for the Glossy Accents to dry, I believe. So what I might do is obviously put that on and then leave it and then come back and show you what it looks like when it's all done. And once I've mounted it onto the card as well, because obviously I can't mount it onto the card front at this point in time because it's wet. Right, so 2 layers of the aqua shimmer pen, extra shimmer, and a nice raised effect. I'll also try and find the actual name of the stamping platform that I use as well. Oh, I've got my Nellie in my head. It might be nothing like that at all. But... Right, so let's have a go now. I don't think I've actually used this before, so this is a bit of an experiment. So normally when I'm doing an experiment, I'll use something like this, just to check like how it comes out and that it's coming out as expected. Okay, it's coming out very finely, quite controllable. And I have seen that other people use like a pokey tool to just like move it around if they need to. So I'm going to get my trusty glue removal pokey tool, or pokey tool for messy things, out and get the residual glue bits off there. Okay, so I've got that there if I need it. And let's give it a bash. My head's not in the way. Just check the camera. No. Okay. So it's going to look... It's only a teeny tiny bottle as well. These come in much bigger bottles. I think I got this in like a set of things that I got from someone. So it's just like thing that I've been meaning to try, but if I like it I might buy a bigger bottle. There's also similar things by other brands, and in fact I've just remembered I have got a similar type of thing from Nuvo that I got recently in a bundle. This is hurting my fingers a bit to squeeze so hard on this tiny small little bottle. Oh, the things we do for the love of craft. Oh, sugar. Fluff. Didn't want that to happen. Can it be saved? Can it be saved? We will try. Well, it's clear, so it should be alright. I wonder why that happened. It's bluished out in a big thing. Why that happened. I hope it doesn't happen again. But I think I can salvage it. That's a bit of a mess. I think because this is clear, that's going to be alright. Okay, so slightly concerned about that, but let's carry on. Okay, so maybe it's meant to come out in this consistency, and maybe it was just a bit blocked or something at first, because this is coming out in a much better consistency. It's much more easier to work with, so maybe that's the reason my hand was hurting, because it wasn't coming out the way it was meant to. This is much better. I'm going to end up using the whole bottle on it. So it looks a bit cloudy and a bit blue to me at the moment, but I've seen other people do this, and I say once it dries clear, and it'll be lovely and like a puffy sticker. So, I think that looks pretty good. Let's try and... Just trying to move any bits like to the edge if they're not quite to the edge. I think that looks alright. Right. Okie dokie guys, I shall see you in a bit with the finished item. Hi everyone. So as if by magic, it's now the next day and the glossy accents that I added have dried. So I'm going to bring this up to the camera and give you some camera angles. So I'm really quite pleased with the way that's turned out. So you can see that there's a subtle shimmer from the aqua shimmer pen that we used, and the glossy accents has given a raised, shiny, puffy sticker type effect. You also might notice that the no words just part of the sentiment is also shiny in a similar way. And basically what I've done to achieve that is use this Sakura, not quite sure how you pronounce it, glaze pen. They come in all different types actually. There's jelly roll pens, which are just a black nice pen to use. There's a sparkle one which is really lovely. There's a white, that's the white one. There's a sparkle one. Where is it? It's hiding from me. Oh, I've got a white glaze pen as well, so that would do a similar effect but in white. And where is my... No, not that one. Oh, It's typical that I can't find it. Anyway, so there's another pen that they do in this range, and it's a sparkly one, which is really nice. But basically, I just thought that because this was shiny, that being matte just looked a bit odd, so I thought it would look better being shiny. And then originally I was going to just stick this coloured panel onto the white card blank, if you remember. But as this was so shiny, when I put this on top of that, I just felt like it needed a little bit something extra. So I've actually added some Hunky Dory mirror cardstock. So it's got a bit, I don't know if you can, I think, yeah, the camera's picking it up there. So it's got this mirror shine to it, which I think ties it all in nicely. And also if I hold it up that way, you can see that there's a bit of dimension here. I've basically stuck this panel onto two bits of scrap cardstock to give it a bit of dimension. And a little tip, or something that I like to do, is when I'm making a card that's got lots of layers and is quite stiff and heavy on the front, the inside can then just feel a bit flimsy. So what I've done on the inside is I've got a piece of sort of pinkish raspberry type colour, which I think is quite similar to that, which I've used from this A5 collection, which you can see is well used, there's not much left. And this is a Paper Mania, Do Crafts Paper Mania premium textured cardstock. It's 216 GSM, so that means it's thinner. It's not really thick enough to be a card blank, but it's good for matting and layering. So I've cut a piece of that, and then I've just cut a piece of quite heavier weight. I don't know the weight, but I think it's about 250 GSM, and added that on there. And I've just done 1/4 inch, so you know that's 5 by 7 inches. And then taken off quarter of an inch there, and then drop down another 1/4 of an inch just to try and give an even border. And then that feels like a nice robust card that I'm happy to give out. So there you go. Hope you like it, and hope you picked up some tips. Remember, if you do like my videos, please hit the subscribe button. It really will help me to help my channel to grow. And also there's a little, if you hit the little bell, then you'll get notified when I release new videos. Many thanks. See you soon.